people, how are we today? Welcome back into the greenhouse. If we haven't met already, I am Sam. I'm your plant collector in Melbourne, and I have just gotten back from such an incredible trip. I came back about 3 days ago. I went on a trip to Cairns. So I went on Thursday night and got back on Sunday morning, and it was a quick trip, but it was one of the most spectacular trips. This video is to share with you exactly what had happened on that trip. Unfortunately, I didn't get much footage just because the people and the individuals that I saw, because some of them are private collectors, they have requested for me not to share any footage, but I thought I would tell you all about the trip. And the most important part is I'm going to do a plant haul to show you guys all the things that I had purchased while I was over there. These plants I'm planning to sell at the rare plant market. So if you've got a ticket for that, or if you're planning to come, then it's probably a really good preview of what I'm going to be bringing along. So without further ado, let me tell you all about Cairns. Like I said, I flew off on a Thursday night and came back on a Sunday morning. I went with Jacob, I went with my middle sister Crystal, her fiance Andrew, and mum. So it kind of turned out to be a little bit of a holiday. I was there for plant business tings. So I met up with some suppliers, saw incredible collections. The best way that I can describe it to you is Plant Disneyland, because for all my Melburnians, you know that when we have plants, they do require a lot more care down here in the southern hemisphere because it is a lot colder and it fluctuates. You know Melbourne weather, it is all seasons in one day. When I think of all the people around Melbourne and all of their plant collections, our scale of plants is so small in comparison to Cairns. These plants are tropical. They are used to climbing up trees and becoming bigger than humans. So it really and truly was a big, what would you even call that? Realization, slap in the face. These plants can grow huge, and I was just not expecting it to be in that scale when I went. It really opened my eyes. It was such a fantastic trip. The first or the beginning of the trip really was to meet some people and buy some plants, and then it slowly turned into a little bit of doing touristy things. So we went on the cable car. I might show you some videos or some photos. Me and my family went on the cable cars, which was absolutely spectacular, where you go up some mountains and you see so much rainforest, so much green. Definitely not used to that much green and humid weather here in Melbourne. Too short, if I'm being honest, so I'll probably have to head back over to Cairns at some stage. So a little summary of the whole trip, but I am sure you guys are dying to see what plants I brought back with me. There are a lot of plants, I'm not gonna lie. Do I even dare to count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So over 20 plants. Let's get started. I'm gonna leave the best to last because that is always my favorite thing to do. So this is a very beautiful long Anthurium. I already have 1 or 2 of these onto the online store at the moment, but this one, she big. This is called a Anthurium Polyschistum. It looks like a H. Anyway, it also says grown on a totem, so that is why it is so large. And this plant, I feel like, is super underrated. Not many people actually like the look of this plant. I really love and am fascinated by weirdo plants. This one is a very interesting one, and yes, it is actually an Anthurium. So it does have some sort of sheen, and the leaves itself are quite like ruffly. It's a little bit of a weirdo, so if you're not into weird plants, this may not be for you, but I love this plant. So this one here I had never even heard of up until I met with one of my suppliers and she showed me. And this one is a pendant Anthurium, which I think is super beautiful. It reminds me a lot of the Vitarifolium, but this one is actually very, very shiny. The leaves are a lot softer than a Vitarifolium, but they are still a really thick leaf Anthurium. So in here, there's about 1, 2, 3 little pups there. Again, I have never seen this Anthurium before, but honestly, it is really gorgeous. If you feel the leaves, they are very soft and leathery like. I should get the Vitarifolium so that you can see a comparison. So the Vitarifolium is like this. The stems itself are a lot thicker than this plant right here, as well as the texture of the plant is quite different. This one has more Anthurium vibes, like the velvety leaves is very much Anthurium-like, but this one feels like leather. It is so soft. So if you like the Vitarifolium, you'll probably like this one right here. So I brought back this little cutie. This is a Philodendron Gigas, and this one has such a beautiful color to it. So this one here is a really dark bluey hue. Hopefully you can see that. That one is perfection, that leaf. And it's got actually a new leaf on the way, even though I feel like it's gotten a little bit injured just there. But regardless, that is one beautiful, healthy plant. So it's growing a little bit funky, so I might have to put it on a pole. But Gigas are honestly one of my favorite philodendrons. Velvety, gorgeous color, and even the shape is kind of like a football. It's kind of like more ovally than a melanochrysum. But if you are a fan of a melano, would you just look at that vein, that mid vein? This one is a stunner. So this one here is a beautiful colored Philodendron Verrucosum. Now I have a few Verrucosum already, and those Verrucosum are larger, but the color is not as beautiful as these ones. Like these ones are super dark, beautiful. Almost the red part is almost like a bluey purpley color. So I bought it like this, but as you can see, the new leaf is just there, looking absolutely stunning. Gorgeous abaxial. It looks neon. It is such a gorgeous plant. I wish my Verrucosum looked like this. Unfortunately, that is not the case. I feel like in this greenhouse, that Verrucosum is struggling purely because it gets a bit too hot for it. I wonder if I have a Verrucosum too. I do. So these are the Verrucosum that I have purchased from one of my suppliers, and here is the comparison. How different. And it is purely conditions. So I think this one was in more of like a shaded area, temperature just right, not too hot. This one looks like it was getting a lot of sun and potentially a bit too hot for its own climate. They are Verrucosum. Maybe they have different forms. I'm not quite aware of the different cultivars that are here in Australia, but at the same token, this is still beautiful, but the coloring of this, you just look at the comparison. This little guy I am so excited about. To be honest, I am pretty tempted to keep this myself. This is a Anthurium black hybrid. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beautiful leaves there. And I just know that this one is going to be an absolute stunner when it grows up, just because of, you can start to see already the blue hue, and it is going to be quite dark given the right conditions. Again, very tempted to keep this little baby, but we'll see what happens. So I have this cutie majestic, and it looks like it had a bit of trouble while it was traveling. She's got 3 leaves. This is the newest leaf. It looks really gorgeous, beautiful color, and the speckling is gorgeous. There's a lot of majestics that I see that don't have as beautiful patchwork or silveriness. So this one here is really pretty. I even have from the same supplier, and it climbs up just over there. I had to cut it, so you probably can't even see it that well in the background, but it's got beautiful speckling. What is next? What is next? So this one is another one that I had never heard of nor seen up until it was essentially right in my face. Would you look at this? So this kind of reminds me of like a watermelonese or a Ducii, but the petioles, they're red. How gorgeous is that? That beautiful contrast, such great shape to it. The veins aren't super prominent, but the texture is amazing on it. And we got a new leaf just there as well. I definitely need to put this one on a pole. I do have a Ducii, so I'll show you that real quickly. Beautiful plant, another Anthurium. Great shape to it. I used to have one of these back in the day, but I ended up trading it or giving it away. I still really love this plant. The new growth on these types of anthuriums are so beautiful because they start off so small, like all anthurium leaves, grow exponentially, but the new leaf is always so thin and delicate and almost see-through. See how you can see my finger through that? Oh, I have a really exciting one to show you guys. This one I'm actually going to be keeping myself for sure. This is a hybrid that is so incredibly stunning. It has essentially one of my favorite plants, which is a Philodendron Plougmanii, and it has been hybridized with a different philodendron to create a beautiful hybrid with great traits. And so this one here, this beautiful large specimen, looks probably to most of you just like a normal Philodendron Plougmanii narrow form, but let me just take a look here. It is a Philodendron Plougmanii seed-grown narrow form ex Linnaean Hanan type. Why is this such a beautiful plant? Because the petioles are pink. They are so beautiful, and the ruffles and the veining on the back again are pink. I'm going to put a photo up on the screen of the parent plants so that you can see exactly the amazing adult petioles that are super ruffly and super pink, which don't normally come out in a Philodendron Plougmanii. So this is one absolutely gorgeous hybrid, and I just couldn't help myself in keeping one. It's pink. I love pink petioles. So gorgeous. This one here is definitely one of my favorites. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I will say that they didn't travel too well because the leaves were super duper like fragile, so a lot of them have damage, but regardless, I'll grow them out and hopefully they'll be looking as stunning as this one right here. Oh, so pretty. So I have a few cutie Philodendron Verrucosums. I have also larger ones of these, so I'll be both selling small ones and large ones. What can I say about the queen? Genuinely one of my most favorite anthuriums. So this one is actually a baby. I'll have to put another photo of the mother plant because when I saw the Verrucosum, the queen, in the conditions that it was meant to be, it was huge. The one that I saw, or that I'll put a photo up right now, was almost 2 meters long and the veining was popping. It was such a gorgeous plant. And then I come back to Melbourne and see these itty bitty Verrucosums and I'm like, wow, okay, so those are goals. But also, if you didn't know, I do have an event coming up this weekend with Botanica Melbourne. It is a plant sale. If you're free in Melbourne, I'll leave the details down below. Another super duper exciting plant that I managed to get my hands on is can you tell what that is? Can you tell what that is? This is a Philodendron Jose Bueno, and supposedly this specific cultivar is very vigorous. It even says vigorous on the actual plant ID from my supplier, and I can see here that there was amazing variegation here. For those of you that are interested in a Jose Bueno, all of the new leaves end up being very variegated, and that variegation ends up darkening up into the normal color of the leaf. That's probably what has happened here. This is one of the oldest leaves, I believe, the second oldest leaf. Hopefully this plant will have some beautiful variegation as it grows up, but if you're looking for a Jose Bueno, did I miss anything? Oh my gosh, the best one! Okay, so this is one of the larger anthuriums that I have purchased and will be taking with me to the rare plant market. This is a hybrid, so unfortunately I can't give a specific ID for it, but I have a feeling that it is a little bit Forgetii, a little bit Magnificum, Crystallinum, that type of thing, because we've got some awesome overlapping of those in the sinus. And as you can see, this one is very big and it is a lot more older. It wouldn't surprise me if this beautiful thing ended up flowering soon, but I've got 3 different hybrids. I might quickly show you all 3. So that's number 1. This is number 2. So this one's not as large, but this one has done a lot better in terms of travel, but it is so beautiful and velvety, great veins, and there's a lot of new growth coming along with these anthuriums. And the very last one, so this one is a little bit smaller, but the shape of it is so interesting. This is probably the darkest of the three, with the most interesting shape, as you can see there and there. Gorgeous, super bluey with a new leaf on the way just there. These are hybrids. I have no idea of the ID, nor did my grower, but that's kind of half the fun of it. I think that is it in terms of all of my Cairns haul. That was a lot of plants. And honestly, it took forever to box these plants up and to send them over. I'm pretty sure I was packaging all of them for about 4 or 5 hours straight, but it was definitely worth it. All of them did so great in coming to Melbourne. We don't have any casualties, which was amazing. I hope you enjoyed looking at all of the plants that I have brought back with me. They will be coming with me to the rare plant market, so if you end up being there on the day, come say hi. If you're interested in some of these plants, let me know down below which one was your favorite plant from today's video. I have some crazy news coming out for you guys next week. I'm not going to spoil anything, but let's just say Plant Collector Melbourne is going a lot faster than I had ever anticipated. So I am going to be doing an announcement video for next week. I'll probably announce it on my Instagram as well. But until then, guys, I will see you in my next video next week. Bye. Mwah!